Alright boys, so today is day 8 in Thailand and I'm on my way to my first proper date. So yeah, this is somebody that I met, I want to say 2 days ago. Yeah, so we set up a coffee date for today and yeah, I'm excited for it. It should be fun. It's yeah, I guess it's my first proper date, so obviously I had the date flake the other day, so it's nice to bounce back and have, let's say, a proper date for today. In terms of how I feel, I mean, I feel pretty chill. You know, it's a coffee date. It's nothing too crazy, nothing too complicated, but it should be fun. I mean, she is one of the most attractive girls I approached thus far, and yeah, even during the conversation, it felt like a pretty nice vibe that we had going on. She was very receptive, and yeah, I felt like there was a decent connection there. So yeah, we'll see how that carries through into this date today, but it should be fun. I'm just gonna take her to a really cool, like, edgy coffee shop, which is not too far from where I am at right now. Yeah, I don't feel too nervous or anything like that. I mean, I've been on quite a few dates now, so I think the benefit of cold approach is that you end up going on so many dates that you know, going on a date no longer feels like this daunting task. Even if the girl is super attractive, you know, even if you're really you know, nervous, or you feel like you're out of your depth, like, that doesn't really happen anymore. So, and I think part of that is because at some level I know that if this doesn't work out, then I can always go out and get another date if I just apply myself and put myself out there. So yeah, there's no nervousness, because I think a lot of that nervousness for guys, it just comes from a scarcity position. It's a result of being in a scarce position, which I'm not really in. So yeah, I thought it might be useful just to talk about my mentality going into dates nowadays. So in the past, let's say before cold approach, or when I first started, I would go into dates trying to impress the girl, and of course that's another reason why it felt like putting a lot of pressure on myself, because if you're going into a date thinking I need to present myself in a certain way, I have to make her laugh all the time, I need her to think that I'm smart and interesting, then it's kind of like walking up. It's similar to doing a test, you know. It's like you're being tested, right? And I think when you go in with that mentality, or when I used to go in with that mentality, I would say that the thing that I was communicating underneath all of that was, I don't think I'm enough as is, right? Like, I don't think that I'm worthy. I don't think that, you know, she's gonna like me for me. And what ended up happening was I was, to some degree, putting on a facade, or just trying a bit too hard. And of course that will always shoot you in the foot, because girls can sense that from a mile away. Yeah, to be fair, there are some guys who are really good at putting on a mask and, you know, portraying a certain image, and yeah, they successfully fool people and scam people. But I think most guys can't get away with it, because at some point the mask slips and the girl can sense it, she can feel it, and yeah, at that point you've essentially just lost whatever potential opportunity you had. So that was the way that I used to look at it back then, but now it's different, right? So now if I'm going on a date, right, and the girl's already agreed to go on a date with me, then if you really think about it, that means that she already likes me at some level, right? Like, she did not have to go on this date with me. Like, she could have done whatever she wanted, you know. No one's like forcing anybody to do anything. She's taking the time out of her day. Today's a work day, by the way, so she is working later on after the date. right? So she's taking the time out of her morning to come see me, right? Which means she likes me already, as is. Yeah, she likes me, and she likes what she saw and heard when I first approached her. So why would I need to change anything about me in order to win her favor when I've essentially already won her favor? Now, of course, even if she liked me at first, maybe we go on a date, and maybe the more we talk, the more we get to know each other, then yeah, maybe she won't like me because I've revealed more about my authentic self, and yeah, perhaps that isn't what she wants, that isn't what she likes, and that's possible too, right? But ultimately, there's a reason why I'm on the date right now. It's because based on what she saw, based on what she heard, she was interested. So it wouldn't make sense to change anything, right? I think part of it's also just the conditioning. We watch people online and we think that we have to sound like them or behave like them in order to get what they have. But we forget that individuals are unique. We all have our different quirks. We all have our different idiosyncrasies. And as a result, we're all attracted to different things. So to put this blanket idea that, you know, girls like this type of guy, or you have to be like this, or say this kind of joke, or be this witty, it's ridiculous. But I get it, because a lot of us live online, and we take what we see online and we assume that that's how the real world works. But once you get outside and actually meet these women, meet these girls, you're like, oh, it's completely different, you know? So yeah, I guess that's hopefully useful. But anyway, I'm on my way now, so I'm gonna put this away, and yeah, I'll let you guys know how the date went afterwards. So peace. Alright boys, so just finished up my date, and yeah, had a good time. It lasted about 3 hours. We weren't actually supposed to stay in that place for that long, but no, we just ended up having a really cool, long conversation, and yeah, none of us really wanted to leave. And then, to be fair, it started to rain heavily all of a sudden, so that was about 2 hours in, so it didn't really make sense to go outside and get absolutely soaked. Yeah, she's really cool. Good vibes, good energy, very bubbly, and yeah, just an interesting person. I think I love going on dates because you get to learn about somebody else and learn about where they're from, what they believe, what they've been up to, their life journey, and we get to like share stories, and yeah, it's just really cool to do that with somebody. And also obviously she's hot as fuck, so that helps as well. But nah, she was cool. I'm off to my apartment now, and I'm gonna go get my laptop and then head to the cafe to do some work and editing. But no, I had a really good time, and yeah, hopefully I'll see her again. I would like to think that she would want to see me again. You never know. I've had dates where it seemed to have gone well, and then all of a sudden either the girl changes her mind, or maybe she was feeling you but wasn't feeling you like that. So yeah, in terms of other girls I'm talking to, so I've got another girl that I'm talking to at the moment. She's Thai. I haven't set up a date with her, but I let her know at the time that I wanted to take her out for a coffee or a drink. So yeah, we'll see if that actually transpires. Otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty happy with what's happening so far. Of course, I'll still approach if I feel compelled to, but no, I think at the moment I'm happy with what I'm working with right now. So that's the beauty of it, right? You can cold approach, get the dates you want, and then you can chill if you want. So yeah, I've still got, is it 2.5 weeks now? Still got 2.5 weeks left. So I've still got plenty of time to meet people if I want to. So yeah, it's nice to be in this position. But anyway, I'm at my apartment now, so I'm gonna put this away, go get my laptop, and then start some work. But I'll probably do a sort of podcasty video at the end of the day on on any topic that I think is interesting or maybe relevant to today. But yeah, other than that, I'll provide any further updates as time goes ahead. But yeah, I'm signing out now, so peace out. The topic I wanted to talk about tonight is essentially around the dating culture, modern dating, and especially how it relates to the lengths that guys will go through to essentially either get girlfriends or to just get laid, right? Because we've all heard the stats of, I think there's a stat that says 1 in 3 men are sexless or haven't had sex in the last year or 2 years or 3 years. Like a third of all men under the age of 30, which is like an insane amount of men. I mean, that's obviously in the millions. I think the stat is a US based stat, but it's still a crazy high number. You can imagine of the people that aren't in that 1/3 or that 33%. You have to think about the lengths to which they go through to get laid, right? And so the inspiration behind this topic actually stems from a conversation I had with a guy that I met the other day. When I was visiting one of the temples, I bumped into this American guy from San Diego, super cool guy, and we chopped it up, and he told me why he was here, and I told him why I was here, and then we went to the temple together, and we just got to know each other a bit. He was a super funny guy, chill guy. As we talked even more, I realized that he'd already been here for a few days, and I asked him specifically about the nightlife, and I was expecting him to just tell me about some cool clubs where I can find some good music. Like, I'm into R&B and hip hop and Afrobeat, so I was just hoping that he would give me some good recommendations. And then as we got to talking, I realized that okay, now he's giving me recommendations about these, like, I guess you can call them sex bars. So we're having this conversation, and I think he assumed that if I'm in Thailand, then of course I'm going to dabble in this type of stuff, right? I'm going to go to these sex bars. I even heard about these bars called like BJ bars. So, you go into a bar and you literally pay a girl to give you head. Now, this is very explicit. I don't want to get too explicit on YouTube, but you get the picture, right? Like, that's essentially what you're doing when you go to these bars. And obviously the prices are cheap, and you realize that a lot of the guys who come to places like Thailand, the reason they're here is because they want to explore their fantasies, and they want to get laid, and they're willing to pay money for it. And so of course he's telling me these recommendations, and I'm kind of smiling, nodding, kind of laughing. We're making a few jokes here and there. But of course, in my head, I'm thinking there's absolutely no way that I'm going to pay money to go to these bars and spend my time and my energy, paying for sex. And, you realize that a lot of the guys, and these are guys who are of all ages, right? These are men who are maybe in their 40s, 50s, 60s. Maybe they're divorced and they haven't got laid in a while, and they just want to pop their cherry and have some fun and go wild for a bit. And then you get, hopefully there's not guys out there who are in their 40s and 50s and are married, because that would be insane, but I'm sure they exist, right? And then of course you also get the younger guys who maybe are just here to party. They're here with their friends, a group of lads having a boys trip, and they're planning to go a bit wild as well, so they visit one of these bars just to get a girl and have fun. And again, they're younger, so maybe you can excuse it, but at the same time, the way I see it is, you wouldn't be doing that if you could just attract, like, let's say, quote unquote normal women. And no shame to the women who are working in those bars, because I imagine most of them do it out of necessity, And so, if anything, you can be empathetic to them. But the industry exists nonetheless, right? And so when it comes to the customers, I think about those young guys who are going to these bars, because the guy that I'm talking about, obviously I'm not gonna like give out information about him, but he was a guy in his early 30s, and he's a good looking guy, like big guy, clearly goes to the gym, charismatic. He actually like said hi to me, and then we got to talking, so he approached me essentially, and yeah, super cool guy. But obviously, he was here to also, participate in that sort of culture, which again, no judgment from me to an extent. I'm not here to say if it's morally wrong or whatever, but what I am saying is it's an example of the extreme lengths that guys will go to in order to get laid. And I think it's funny because that same night, at the same time, let's say after we had this conversation, we were walking around the temple in the food market area, and I spotted this beautiful girl. Turns out she was like a German girl here solo traveling. And as me and the guy are talking, I tell the guy, bro, just give me 1 second. This hot girl just passed me. I have to go say hi. And he was like, oh, okay, cool, cool. Yeah, I rate that, bro. Go. And I turn around, I go, I approach her, I stop her, we have a conversation, I get her details, and then I go back to my guy. And he congratulates me and he's like, bro, well played. Like, most guys are really scared to do that. So I really respect it. And I just thought it was quite funny how, a couple minutes later, we're talking about sex bars and renting out girls and doing this sort of thing. And then now I just turn around and approach this stunning girl and potentially set up a date. Now, I didn't go on a date with her, unfortunately. But the point is, I could have, right? And I wouldn't have had to use money or paid money to somebody for those services. And of course, the experience would be completely different, right? Because when you're paying somebody for sex, I mean, obviously that's transactional. There's nothing there. There's no connection. It's purely just, it's even a step below casual sex. You're just banging somebody and they're paying you, and then that's it. You go separate ways. Whereas when you meet somebody in the street, cold approach, daytime, you introduce yourself, you give her a compliment, you get to talking, you find out if you're compatible, then you set up a date, and then you have this magical experience. And it's the stuff that movies are made of, right? It's like a story, like a love story. And of course that's way more enriching, that's way more exciting. But of course on the back end it's way more difficult because sure, you're not paying with money, you're really paying with your ego, you're paying with your sense of self-worth, because of course there's the high chance of rejection. Yeah, that's another reason why cold approach is amazing. It allows you to break out of the nonsense and the bullshit that society's trying to either push us towards or trying to promote as like a feasible way of satisfying certain desires. Because the truth is, relationships are really important, and romantic relationships are one important component of relationships in general. And paying for hookers or getting with an AI robot, I mean, we all know that's nonsense. We all know that's not real, and nobody can lie to themselves, right? And tell themselves that it's real. So, what's the alternative, right? The alternative is you get outside and you you approach. And yeah, I mean, obviously I went on a date today with an absolutely stunning girl, and I've got another date tomorrow with another beautiful girl. So I've got two girls that I'm dating at the moment, essentially. And that's me pretty much sorted. I mean, assuming that the date tomorrow goes pretty well, and I get to essentially pick which girl I want to pursue, a romantic relationship with further during my time here. I mean, what a great position to be in, right? What a great position to be in. And I didn't have to pay anybody. I didn't have to do this in secret. Because think about it. There's a lot of shame attached to going out to a place like this and paying a hooker to sleep with you, because nothing was earned there, right? And so I can actually look back on this trip when I'm done and be like, yeah, like I went outside, I met some people, and I was able to form some really fun romantic experiences um, with some amazing women. And I can take that home with me, and I can, that will be a story that I can always look back on with a smile. And there's no shame attached to it, obviously. If anything, there's pride and, you know, happiness and etc. So, also, before I clock off, I should mention something funny. So, before I flew out to Bangkok, I downloaded Tinder just to see how I would fare in a foreign country, because a lot of guys on the internet, especially Red Pill guys, they say, oh, if you live in the West, just come out to Asia or come out to South America or come out to Africa and yeah, download dating apps there and then try your luck there, because you'll find more matches, you'll get more options, and you'll be in more demand just purely because you're from the West or whatever. I was curious to see how my profile would fare here. And it's funny because I guess my thinking was this, right? I wanted to keep Tinder, swipe a bit, and then compare my results with Cold Approach to my results with Tinder. And so obviously I'm coming up to halfway through my trip. And obviously I've been on a couple of instant dates. I've been on a proper date today, and I've got another proper date tomorrow. So by Friday, I would have been on essentially 4 dates. 4 dates within the space of 10 days. But let me show you my Tinder. I have a match here that I got in the UK, so I'm going to unmatch that. So look at how many matches I've got from Tinder, having been in Bangkok for about 10 days now, right? Now take a guess. I'm going to show you what it looks like, right? And bearing in mind, I swiped quite a bit. I would swipe. I mean, I haven't been swiping recently, but I just swiped a bunch on the first few days just to get the likes given, and then because if I don't swipe, then I'm not gonna be able to match anybody, right? So, but look, I don't know if you can see that, but essentially zero, right? I've basically got zero matches, right? I've got one match actually, so I've got one match at the top, right? And of course, I've not, like, that's why you can see I haven't actually started a conversation, because I don't plan to talk to anybody on the app. But isn't that crazy? Now, obviously, you can see that I've got 14 likes. So 14 people have liked my profile, but I can only see them if I pay for Tinder Gold, right? Which is obviously bullshit, right? So look, I have to pay for Tinder Gold, which is, how much is it? It's for 1 month, it's £29, right? I have to pay £29 per month for Tinder Gold in order to have these matches actually show on my chat page. And the reality is that, okay, so right now I'm looking at 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So there's 9 women who have liked my profile. Now the chances are one of those or two of those might be a bot, and then the other ones that aren't a bot, I might not even be attracted to half of them. And then of the ones that I might be attracted to, what percentage of those ones are actually going to reply to my message, right? Because just because I match with somebody doesn't mean they're going to reply to me. So you can just see how ridiculous this is, right? Like, think about how stupid this is, right? Whereas in the space of 10 days, I've just been able to approach and like get dates in person, right? And it just makes it more special. So yeah, that's just a little dating app rant, which I'm always going to rant about the apps because, the apps are just so terrible. And I hope anybody watching this isn't on them anymore. Even if you aren't doing Code Approach, it just isn't worth trying to be on the apps, because it just nukes your self-confidence, because you're swiping, and then you get nothing. Now, if I'd been doing this a year and a half ago, and swiping, and then I didn't get any matches, then yeah, that would have hurt my self-confidence. It would have hurt my self-image. But fast forward now, and I'm swiping on these profiles and I'm not getting matches. But do you think I care? I don't care about the fact that I haven't got any matches. I can laugh about it because guess what? I'm getting matches in real life, and that's amazing. And I can't believe I'm in this position right now, after a year. And of course, that's the result of hard work, coaching, putting myself out there even before the coaching. But either way, a lot has gone into it, sure. But the payoff has been big. The payoff has been huge. So yeah, let's just end on that note then. Today was a good day, fun day, really had fun on the date, and I can't wait to go on the second date tomorrow with this other girl. Otherwise, I hope you guys are approaching. I hope you're finding some success, seeing some progress if you are approaching. If you're not approaching, I hope the content is still somewhat inspirational. And I hope you try and get out there and do your first approach if you haven't done it yet. It doesn't have to be too difficult, don't make it too hard. But if you can put yourself out in the open, shoot your shot, regardless of what happens, don't think too much about it, then who knows, that could be the start of something crazy. That could be the start of a new life for you in terms of romantic opportunities, which is a life-changing prospect. But yeah, good night. Peace out.